How is it going, guys? After yesterday's little mishap with the recording, I thought I'll make sure that my microphone is on this time, and no one gets confused when I'm suddenly doing a live session and my lady walks in and everything goes crazy. So this time, hopefully, everything is gonna work out properly. So again, at the moment, I'm not looking at individual stocks. So, like, partially because the market is crazy, and as I mentioned yesterday, why look at anything else than the market if it gives us such a huge range? I have been scalping all of this all day while I was working on other things, and I've made about 32 points. Just 5 points, 10 points, 3 points, 4 points, in and out, in and out. So why would I need to look at anything else if I can do this? So for you guys, I'm doing this this lesson right now because I just mentioned in chat that we are holding stubbornly here at this 2800. So while I'm still bearish in general, we might have to look for like another pop before the open. I think for you guys it's going to be 3 a.m. That's when I think for me it's 8 p.m. where usually I think that's where the pre-market session opens, or some other market opens, or that just people are able to start buying, start trading, and we usually see like a sudden, like an abrupt move. And if we keep holding here, and on that move it doesn't manage to get below here, then I could see this, at least retesting this 2877, or at least 2850, which is a daily level. Here, let me bring up my newly beautiful little drawing set. There you go. So beautiful. Wait, that's the wrong one. That's the 4 hour. I want daily. So as you see, like the purple ones are daily levels, white ones are monthly levels, orange ones are weekly levels. So like the top of this daily kind of range could definitely be in the works before which would also coincide with like the 14 MA with the middle celt here on the 4 hour, which we have not managed to hold above yet. So retest and then fail into 2777, and then hopefully back to lows. That would be ideal today. A bit more panic. I would love to see a bit more panic. But yeah, just like looking at like it's testing under, gets bought back up, testing under, gets bought back up, and it keeps closing over the 2800. That's what Addicted mentioned in his video. Was it like last was on a weekend, I think. So just be aware that this might find another pop before it sells off. What I also wanted to mention to you guys is what Addicted mentioned in I think it was in the overnight chat. I'm trying to find it just now, where he said as we came into the 2877, like it's retesting this level, and some of you guys were already going crazy trying to buy calls or talking about like how far further up it could go. And then I had to step in and say, look, why is he mentioning this level, and why is he mentioning like that it's retesting the level, but this time from below? It's because now we are seeing a retest of previous support that has turned into resistance. So that's what we say, guys, how you top and bottom tick stuff. Like you sell into strength and you buy into weakness. You buy into the levels and you just have to pull the trigger. So if you see it like into this 2877, you just sell. Like you don't go all balls deep, but you sell. And if it starts holding above, like say it gets over the 2900, then you stop out. But if it doesn't get above, if it fails below, you know, like you have, what's that? Like that's at least 20, 75, 25 points. So 50 points would be 2 to 1, which is down here. So you get like a 3 to 1 move. And that is the proper risk reward for something like this. And if this keeps going lower, you have a 5 to 1 or a 10 to 1 if it keeps if it makes new lows. This is the kind of risk reward that we are looking for. So into these resistances, especially into a para kind of style move, you know, the end of day buyback, I would have, if I was awake, I would have shorted this any day. Anytime I would have shorted this. So that's the way of thinking that you guys have to change, you know, like it's coming back to retest the level that it's broken below. And the first and the second test, they are very likely to fail unless it's really bloody strong, but clearly it isn't. So if it keeps testing 3, 4, 5 times, that's where I would, like, especially 4 or 5 times, I would probably either go very, very small or not go in at all anymore and just let it show us what it wants to do, because the more times it tests, the more likely it is to break. But a test like this, guys, that's a short. That's not a long. The long was down here into the monthly support here. We had like that level that tested here. We've been calling out these things so many times, and it's just a mindset thing. Like something's overbought like this, it's a short. Something's oversold like this, it's a long, or at least, you know, like a short-term long. When we're bears like this, you don't want to hold longs too much, and this would have been a present, but this is a short. That's all I have to say. Just change your way of thinking. And when Addicted posts stuff like this, try to not just read it and forget it. Try to actually understand what he means, understand what we mean when we post stuff like this. Like I just posted that we're stubbornly holding that 2800 so far. So for we got just a few. Oh, we just closed the hourly candle, but I said 50 minutes for next hourly candle. And the 2794 is also top of a daily support zone, which we actually it's a weekly support zone, which we see here. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that this is careful if you're short here, because we are at the bottom of a range. Try to understand the way we communicate. Like we all are trying to make it as clear as possible, but you guys got to do some thinking as well. I'm not, like some of you guys are trying, some are trying but aren't getting it yet. Everyone's going to get there, but just I'm trying to visualize what we mean. Anyway, so let's look at we've looked at the market. If this reclaims the 2877 and gets back above, I'll probably look at a gap fill of the gap down that we had. And see from there, which would probably also start to coincide with the 14 MA test that we are still waiting for, where we could perhaps take another short. But on the other hand, if this breaks, especially if it breaks 2700, boy, you're in for another hell of a ride. Let me bring up those weekly levels real quick. So the weeklies and monthlies, I can delete this limit down here. So we break the 2700 next target from a weekly, like higher time frame point of view is 26, 27, and 2600. So we got room to go still if this breaks. But on the other hand, I saw a video today where Steve Spencer from SMB pointed out something interesting, and that is, the volatility is slightly declining in relation to what we've seen here. Like the IV rank of some of the market is, I think the last time I looked, it was at 80. It's not at 120 anymore. So that's all the things you want to take into consideration, and just maybe it wants to chop around in here for a little bit, before it decides where to go next. So keep that in mind, and just play them short term. If you can, sell some premium, duration over direction, and just stay safe. As far as the other two futures plays, oil looks like it's broken, to the upside a little bit here, but it's still fairly undecided. So this is a long-term hold. We don't have to look at this every day, but it seems like it's recovering a little bit. And then the bonds, as I've said, guys, this come on, load this, please. Like the parabolic is playing out. As I've said it so many times, and as we've seen it so many times with Tesla and SPC and all these things. Would you please load my charts? Then see, I got the speed. There you go. Sometimes I have to wake it up with this tool for it to realize that it should perhaps be working for me instead of against me. All right, so we are overnight. We are retracing a bit, but and I told you guys 177. That's kind of my profit zone where I would start booking profits from my spreads. I have time on my side still, so if this wants to retrace a bit more, perhaps if the market wants to go further up, I would I have a few positions on, so there's still room for me as well. But in general, exactly as I said, I'm trying to not say that too often. Oh yeah, I told you so. But I've said it yesterday. This is what a parabolic chart looks like, and this is where you go short. You short this. There's nothing else to say about this. Like, you see something like this going on. If you're here overnight, you short into this. Like, there's no question asked that you are shorting this. Of course, like stay within your risk parameters and all these things that I guess have to keep saying. But there was no question for me that this is going to retrace, and it did it yesterday. Now, hopefully, we'll get a little bit more, and then we'll see where we end up. But in general, I think the trade should have been in here. Now, perhaps if we get a bounce, we could perhaps take a longer term, like sell some premium up here, like with a 83, 85 call spread, or like probably like a similar thing in TLT if you don't trade futures options, and then take it from there. But I mean, we've seen these charts so many times, so freaking take a screenshot of this and put it in your in your notebook and look at it a million times, because you're going to see this many times when emotions run high. All right, guys, if you found some information in this video, as always, please like the video. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. Please join us in the Discord. We are slowly growing, like one member at a time. I hope you guys are finding value. The guys in the team, like the guys who are active, the guys who are really trying to learn, they are making progress, even with the most stubborn guys. But they are active. I see progress, and you join us and you make progress as well. It's not going to be fast. It's going to be slow. You have to learn. You have to be committed. But in the end, you'll get something out of this that's going to change your life. So for that, guys, that's going to be my closing words for today. Have a nice overnight, and I'll see you guys at the open.